Welcome to WxTV, your online source for weatherization training. This is our 10 Steps to Energy Efficiency episode. As part of our consumer education series, we're looking at things that you can do as the homeowner to start saving money on your energy bills. We'll start with some of the most basic improvements and work our way up to some things that are a bit more involved or costly. Whether you're in a hot or cold climate, there are ways to consume less energy and keep heat where it needs to be. One of the easiest ways to save money on your utility bills is to set back the heating or the air conditioning while you're sleeping or during times when you're not in the home. You can either do that by manually adjusting the temperatures, like on this model here, or if you're like me and you don't want to have to fiddle with that, maybe looking into a programmable thermostat like this one. On average, 11% of your energy bill is due to lighting. Using newer technologies like CFLs can drop that energy use by up to 75%. That can really add up. Homeowners pay for the amount of watts they use. These floods, for instance, use only 23 watts and produce the same amount of light as a 120-watt incandescent flood. And they can last a lot longer if used properly. CFLs have come a long way since they first came out. There's a wide range of styles and color temps that'll fit just about any fixture. And of course, the easiest way to save on lighting is to simply turn them off when you're not occupying the room. Many household appliances continue to draw small amounts of electricity even when they're turned off. These are called phantom loads. So here's a pretty standard entertainment center with a TV, a DVD player, receiver, and some speakers. And what we've brought along is an energy meter to determine how much energy it's actually taken while the items are off. So they've got everything plugged into a surge protector, and let's plug that into our power meter here. We're still pulling between 14 and 15 watts. One option is to just unplug all those items or turn them off at the power strip, or you could get something like this. It'll do the job for you. Let's plug it in and see what we get. Okay, so with the TV off, we've dropped from 15 to about 2.5 watts. We've cut out all the energy use from those accessories. Regardless of your climate, heating water is a significant portion of your energy bill, anywhere from 15 to 40%. Most water heaters are set higher than what you want, about 140 degrees. Try turning it to the middle setting and checking at the tap for 120 degrees. Doing this can save you 6 to 10% on your energy bills associated with heating water. You can also lose energy through a poorly insulated water heater. Consult with the manufacturer, but most will allow you to install a water heater blanket, like the one you see here. First of all, this one is a gas water heater, and so we want to make sure that we cut around the burner assembly and the gas valve with our blanket and leave that open. That won't be anything to worry about on an electric water heater. On both gas and electric, we never want to cover up the clean out. Whether our relief valve is plumbed in on the side or up top like this one here, we can never cover up that relief valve. We always want to make sure on a gas one that we have clearance from the flue. This is based on code, and typically the recommendation for most installers is that on a gas water heater, they end their install right at the cap here and they don't even bother wrapping it over onto the top. And then the final one for both gas and electric is to always leave at least an access flap so that you can get to the information that tells you about your water heater in in case you need that for the future. Installing a low-flow shower head can save you an upwards of 5 gallons per minute while you're showering compared to a standard shower head. And don't forget about those sink aerators for your kitchen and bathrooms as well. Be careful as you're putting these on and taking them off. The last thing you want to do is to crack a joint behind the wall. And end up with a water leak. So we'll just go finger tight. Another way to save on hot water is to use the cold water setting on your washing machine. After you've gone through all these steps, if you still feel like you're spending too much on your water heating needs, it may be time to upgrade. We saw that this older water heater had a predicted average annual cost of about $165 per year. Newer, more efficient Energy Star models may be able to cut that cost in half. To make these 10 tips more useful, we wanted to show you a home from a different era. We were just looking at a residence from the early 90s, and now we're looking at one from the early 1900s. And just for you viewers, we've pulled some strings, and we've made it winter. Windows are another great area to focus our energy-saving efforts. If it's winter outside and you walk past your windows, you can feel it, it's cold. And that's for two reasons. One, windows are poor insulators. And two, they often leak a lot of air. We'll address the air sealing in just a bit. If we compare a window to a wall, when properly insulated, may have an R value of 15 to 20. A single pane window like we have here may be an R value of 1. But there are some things we can do. One of the least expensive things you can do is to apply a plastic window treatment like we see here. They create an air barrier that can help add insulation value to your windows. Window treatments are another easy way to seal out that cold air. Even pulling the shades and blinds at night can help. There are a lot of different styles. This one still lets light through and is sealed around the edges with Velcro to prevent condensation issues. Storm windows are the next option. They can either be exterior, like this homeowner has installed, or they can be installed on the interior. Either way, storm windows are easy to install and relatively inexpensive. Of course, a lot of improvements have been made to windows over the years, so maybe it's time to replace them. Switching to a double or triple glazed window can be a significant improvement to your home. Air leaks carry a large amount of heat. A home that's not properly sealed will allow heat to move in or move out depending on the season. On a windy day, do you feel breezes inside your home? If so, it's time to seal those up. Installing sweeps and weather stripping around doors and windows is a great place to start. Builders have known about air sealing for a long time. Check out this wooden weather stripping. Air sealing isn't just for windows and doors. Any penetration, especially those in an exterior wall, could use some sealing up. You can see that the homeowner here put some weather stripping along this breaker box door. About 2% of the air leakage in your house comes from here. Outlets and switches. You can buy seals that fit just behind the plate and seal that air off. Another area to look for air leaks, and it's often overlooked, are in basements and crawl spaces. Penetrations through the wall at the rim, sealing up the rim joist area itself, and especially this area where the sill plate meets the foundation wall. These are areas we can address. We can seal up the rim by cutting blocks of foam like this and fitting it in that area. We'll come back in later and then caulk or foam around the edges. Large gaps like this can be filled with foam. If you have an unused or decommissioned fireplace, this can be a major source of air leakage. They do make products to help you seal these up as well. Now, when you're choosing products for air sealing, keep in mind that there are differences. When you're choosing a caulk, you may want to go with an easy to use, easy to clean up acrylic latex like the one here. It's water-based. Now, caulking is good for about an 1/8 inch gap. That's pretty small. Anything bigger than that, and you're either going to need to fill that with backer rod like you see here, or you may want to go with a 1 or 2 part foam. When you're choosing a foam, match it to the application, because there are differences. If you note, this one says window and door. Around your windows and doors, if you choose the wrong foam, it's going to expand with enough pressure to warp those jambs and window frames. Other foams are meant to meet fire codes. Note the orange color on this one. And still others for all seasons. When we're talking about heating your home, your furnace is an obvious part of that equation. There's not a lot we can do as homeowners, but there are a few things that we can do to keep these furnaces running efficiently. You can change out filters regularly, very important. You can also call in a service technician to give an annual inspection. We've cut the power to this unit so we can change out the filter. You'll note this unit does have a safety switch in place that cuts power as soon as we remove this cover. Changing your filters out a little more regularly than this one would probably be advisable. If you have concerns about lead and asbestos in your system, it's a good idea to take a misting bottle and mist this down before bagging it and taking it out to the garbage. This will keep those dusts and particles from getting into your air. You may have noticed on the filter we took out that it had a 30-day change out, just like this one here. Now, buying a more restrictive, longer-lasting filter may not be in your best interest. If your system requires inexpensive filters like the ones you see here, that's what you should use. And be sure to turn the power back on when you're done. Because this isn't my house, I hung my car keys on there so I wouldn't forget. And our final tip that applies to both heating and cooling is to check for leaks in ductwork at fittings and joints. You can see where this flex duct came into the plenum, this homeowner tried to address a leak there. Now, checking for leaks is especially important when you're running that ductwork through unconditioned spaces like attics for AC systems in the south. But there's a right and a wrong way to do this. Using a duct mastic or the proper tape is important. This is the wrong way. Despite its name, using duct tape is the improper tape to use. You want a metal or a metal butyl-back tape when you're attaching these ductwork. Now, it may be expensive, but at a certain point, a full furnace changeout might be the best way to go. This unit was built in the late 80s, and we're guessing it's around 70% efficient. We could check that out, but what that means is that 30% of the heat that you're making is going right up the flue and outside. Modern units can be in upwards of 90% efficient or more. Our appliances use a lot of energy, and there are some things that we can do to keep them running at peak efficiency, like cleaning off the coils on your refrigerator. Your refrigerator works by removing heat from the inside and dissipating it into the outside air through these coils. The dirtier they are, the less efficient it's running. But if you're like this homeowner and your appliances are 20, 30, or even 40 years old, it might be time to upgrade. Check out our base load episode to determine if changing out appliances is an economical option for you. You can see that this homeowner has already upgraded to a newer, more efficient washer and dryer. We've been working our way up in complexity and expense. And while adding insulation can be both difficult and costly, it may also save you more money on your energy bills than any of the measures we've mentioned so far. Check with your local codes, but in general, a southern climate should have about an R30 insulation in the attic, and in our northern climate here, about an R49. As you can see, this homeowner has blown in insulation just this year, but they may benefit from a few more inches. Insulating in older homes can be especially tricky, especially when you have features like this knee wall cavity we have here. This is actually continuous all the way up with our attic space above. Now it's important before you start tossing bags of insulation into these areas that you air seal first. You do want air moving through the attic and knee wall areas. You just don't want that air reaching your conditioned space. And that can happen in a lot of different ways, but one of the main ones is through penetrations like the fan we have here, or even a can light. Not only are basements and crawl spaces typically overlooked for air sealing, but they're also overlooked for insulation as well. Walls like these can be tough to address, but the conductive heat loss through a foundation wall is significant, so there are some things we can do. We could drape this with an insulating blanket, we could use a 2-part foam, or we could frame it out and insulate with bats like this homeowner has started to do. And finally, landscaping. The proper landscaping can provide a vital role in energy efficiency, protecting your home from prevailing winds in the winter and sheltering it from solar radiation in the summer. Well, that's it for another episode of WxTV and our 10 steps to energy efficient living. It was our aim to help you realize that it doesn't always take a big investment to get big savings. As a bonus step, we recommend that everyone have an energy audit done on their home. The diagnostic tools that these professionals employ can reveal issues you may have missed. Contact your local utility because an audit may be available at no cost to you. And if you're still hungry for more information, we'd like to leave you with a few resources to check out. And thanks for watching. WxTV, your online source for weatherization information, techniques, and expert advice.